The massive Imperial scout ship emerged from hyperspace at the edge of the solar system. Its dark metal hull, stretching 3 kilometers in length, reflected the distant sunlight as it moved silently toward the third planet from the sun. Commander Thomas stood at the window of Earth's orbital defense station, his weathered face showing no emotion as he watched the alien vessel approach. The station's sensors had detected the ship's arrival hours ago, triggering Earth's quiet but efficient defense protocols. "They're exactly where we expected them to be," said Admiral Rogers, walking up beside Thomas. Both men had trained for this moment for decades, part of Earth's secret preparation program. The year was 2145, and humanity had spread across their solar system. Mars hosted thriving colonies under its massive environmental domes, while Europa's underwater research stations studied the moon's vast oceans. But Earth had kept their most significant achievements hidden, knowing this day would come. The Imperial ship transmitted its first message across all frequencies. "Greetings, people of Earth. We represent the Galactic Empire, a peaceful coalition of 10,000 worlds. We come offering friendship and advancement." In the United Defense Council's underground chamber beneath the Rocky Mountains, military and political leaders from Earth's United Nations gathered. The chamber's holographic displays showed the Imperial vessel's position and specifications, gathered by Earth's quantum scanning technology. "They're lying," said General Williams, his hands clasped behind his back. "Our deep space monitors have watched them absorb 12 civilizations in the past 5 years. None remained truly independent. The Council had spent years studying the Empire's expansion pattern. They would offer technology, medical advances, and trade agreements. Once a world accepted, Imperial advisors would gradually take control of key industries and resources. Within a decade, the planet would be nothing more than another Imperial resource center." The Empire's ambassador, appearing as a hologram in the Council chamber, stood tall and humanoid. His silver skin and pure white eyes marked him as different, but his diplomatic smile was universal. "We offer you advancement beyond your dreams," he said smoothly. "Your species need not struggle alone anymore." Council President Robert kept his face neutral. "We appreciate your offer, Ambassador. However, Earth and its colonies are satisfied with our independence." The ambassador's smile didn't waver, but his eyes hardened. "Perhaps you misunderstand. The Empire doesn't take rejection well. We offer peaceful integration now, or," he paused meaningfully, "we have other methods." "Is that a threat, Ambassador?" Robert asked calmly. "Merely a statement of fact. You have 24 Earth hours to reconsider. The Empire will not offer twice." The hologram vanished. In orbit, Commander Thomas activated Earth's hidden defense network. Quantum-cloaked satellites, armed with weapons reverse-engineered from crashed alien vessels found decades ago, moved into position. On Mars, massive hangar doors hidden under the red soil began to open, revealing ships humanity had built in secret. "They've scanned us multiple times," Admiral Rogers reported. "Their sensors show exactly what we want them to see. A primitive space force, basic orbital stations, nothing that could challenge them." The Council voted unanimously. Earth would not bow to Imperial demands. As the 24-hour deadline approached, President Robert transmitted Earth's response. "The solar system declines your offer. We declare our space sovereign and closed to Imperial forces. Any violation will be met with appropriate force." The Imperial ambassador's next transmission crackled with barely contained rage. "You dare refuse the Empire? Your primitive weapons cannot hope to match our power. This is your final chance. Submit or face extinction." President Robert stood tall, his voice firm. "We've made our decision. Earth declares no entry for the Galactic Empire. This is not negotiable." As the ambassador's hologram faded, alarms blared across the solar system. The Imperial scout ship had launched fighters, beginning what they thought would be a simple demonstration of force. They didn't expect Earth's quantum shields to appear around every major city and colony. They weren't prepared for the advanced weapon systems that emerged from hiding. And they certainly didn't anticipate the massive fleet rising from Mars, ships powered by technology that matched or exceeded their own. The Empire had made a crucial mistake. They assumed Earth was young, weak, and unprepared. They didn't realize that humanity had spent the last century preparing for this very moment. The battle for Earth's independence was about to begin. The Imperial scout ship's captain watched in disbelief as Earth's hidden defenses emerged. What their scans had shown as primitive satellites transformed into advanced weapon platforms. The captain's four-fingered hand trembled as he sent an emergency transmission to the Empire's nearest fleet. Deep beneath the Pacific Ocean, Earth's largest secret installation hummed to life. The facility, known as Deep Point Alpha, stretched for miles under the seabed. Director James walked through its main control center, watching as thousands of screens lit up with battle data. "Begin Protocol Omega," he ordered. Around him, technicians activated systems that had waited decades for this moment. Release the AIs. Earth's most closely guarded secret wasn't its weapons or shields. It was the network of artificial intelligences developed in absolute secrecy. These AIs had been designed specifically to counter alien technology, their existence hidden behind layers of quantum encryption. In orbit, the Imperial fighters encountered their first surprise. Their targeting systems suddenly failed, confused by phantom signals that seemed to come from everywhere and nowhere. The fighters' pilots found themselves shooting at empty space, while Earth's defense platforms picked them off one by one. "How is this possible?" the Imperial captain demanded, watching his fighter squadron dissolve into chaos. Their technology was primitive hours ago. Below the Martian surface, General Lisa monitored the battle from another hidden command center. "Launch the swarm," she ordered. Thousands of small, autonomous drones emerged from hidden silos across Mars's surface. Each drone was barely larger than a basketball, but carried weapons that could pierce Imperial shields. The Imperial scout ship tried to retreat, but found itself trapped by invisible gravitational fields generated by stations hidden in the asteroid belt. Earth had turned the entire solar system into one massive defense grid. "The Empire thought we spent the last century fighting among ourselves," General Lisa said to her staff. "They never realized we were preparing for them." In the lunar base Alpha, Dr. Mark activated the quantum communication network. This system, hidden from Imperial detection, connected every human outpost and ship in the solar system. Unlike Imperial communications, it couldn't be intercepted or jammed. "All units report ready," he announced to the United Defense Council. "The Jupiter defense line is active. Europa Base has powered up its antimatter generators." The Council watched as humanity's true military strength revealed itself. Massive warships emerged from underground hangars on Mars, their hulls made of materials that absorbed enemy scans. Weapons platforms hidden in Earth's asteroid belt powered up, their targeting systems guided by AI that could predict Imperial tactics. President Robert addressed the emergency session of Earth's United Nations. "For over a century, we kept our true progress hidden. While we showed the galaxy our conflicts and divisions, we secretly united. While they saw our primitive space stations, we built a defense network throughout our solar system." In orbit, Commander Thomas directed the space battle from his real command center, hidden behind holographic projections. The orbital defense stations that the Empire had scanned were decoys. The real stations existed in quantum space, partially phased out of normal reality. "Launch the gravity mines," he ordered. Across the solar system, hidden platforms released devices that created localized gravity wells, trapping Imperial ships in place. The Imperial scout ship's captain watched in horror as his vessel's engines failed. Their most advanced shields meant nothing against weapons they couldn't detect or understand. His last transmission to the Empire was cut short as Earth's quantum field dampeners activated. Deep within the Rocky Mountains, the AI control center processed battle data at speeds no human could match. The AIs had spent decades running simulations of this exact scenario, developing strategies to counter every possible Imperial tactic. All hidden bases report operational status, reported Admiral Rogers to the Council. Titan Base has activated its shield network. Mercury's heat lance platforms are charged and ready. The Empire had expected to find a primitive civilization, easy to conquer or absorb. Instead, they found a species that had spent generations preparing for this exact moment. Every advancement humans had made in the past century had been focused on one goal: defending Earth from Imperial conquest. As the disabled Imperial scout ship drifted in space, surrounded by Earth's revealed defenses, a simple message was broadcast on all frequencies. This is only the beginning. Earth stands ready. The real war was about to start, and humanity had just played its first hand. The Empire's response came 3 days later. A fleet of 50 warships emerged from hyperspace, their massive hulls blocking out the stars. The Imperial Admiral's face appeared on screens across Earth's defense network, his silver skin gleaming with anger. "Your resistance is unprecedented and foolish," he declared. "No world has ever defied the Empire and survived. Surrender now, and we may show mercy." In the orbital command center, Commander Thomas smiled. "All defense systems track as planned," he reported to the Council. "They've positioned themselves exactly where we predicted." The Imperial fleet had arranged itself in the Empire's standard attack formation, a strategy Earth's AIs had studied for years. Before the Admiral could issue his first attack order, humanity struck. Hidden antimatter torpedoes, launched days ago from Europa, detonated in the midst of the Imperial formation. The explosions weren't meant to destroy the ships. They created massive electromagnetic pulses that overwhelmed Imperial shields. "Their defensive screens are down," reported General Lisa from Mars Command. "Initiate Operation Thunderstrike." Across the asteroid belt, hundreds of rail guns activated simultaneously. They launched projectiles at near-light speed, each one guided by quantum-linked AIs. The Imperial fleet's armor, designed to withstand energy weapons, proved vulnerable to simple kinetic impacts at relativistic speeds. The Admiral watched in horror as 5 of his largest ships split apart under the assault. "Impossible," he shouted. "They're using primitive projectile weapons." "Sometimes the old ways work best," Commander Thomas muttered, watching the battle unfold, "especially when powered by advanced technology." The Imperial fleet attempted to regroup, launching waves of fighters. They encountered Earth's next surprise: clouds of self-replicating nanobots that had been seeded throughout the battle space. The microscopic machines invaded their engines through the exhaust ports, disabling fighter after fighter. From bases on Mercury, enormous solar collectors focused the sun's energy into coherent beams. The Imperial ships found their heat shields tested beyond their limits as temperatures rose to stellar levels in targeted areas. "We're tracking new hyperspace signatures," reported Dr. Mark from Lunar Base. "They're calling for reinforcements." President Roberts' voice came through the quantum network. "Activate the hyperspace disruptors." Devices hidden in the Kuiper belt powered up, creating a field that made faster-than-light travel impossible within the solar system. The Empire's greatest advantage, their ability to bring overwhelming forces to bear, had been neutralized. The Imperial Admiral's next transmission showed genuine fear. "What are you? How do you have these technologies?" "We are humanity," President Robert replied simply. "And we've been preparing for this moment since we first looked at the stars." The battle continued for hours. The Imperial fleet discovered that their advanced targeting systems were being fooled by quantum ghosts, false signals created by Earth's AI network. Their attempts to adapt were predicted and countered before they could implement them. On Mars, General Lisa watched as the Imperial fleet's formation began to break. "They're not used to fighting an enemy who can match their technology," she observed. "They have no backup strategies." The Empire had grown complacent over centuries of easy victories. They had forgotten how to face real resistance. But humanity, born on a harsh world and tested by countless conflicts, had never stopped preparing for the ultimate fight. From hidden bases on Titan, electromagnetic pulse cannons fired, targeting the Imperial fleet's communication arrays. Ship after ship went silent, unable to coordinate their actions. The mighty Imperial formation dissolved into individual ships fighting for survival. "Send the message," ordered President Robert. Across all frequencies, Earth broadcast its declaration. "This is your only warning. The Empire's authority is not recognized in the solar system. Retreat now, or be destroyed entirely." The Imperial Admiral, watching his mighty fleet be systematically dismantled by an enemy he had drastically underestimated, gave the order to retreat. The surviving ships, less than half their original number, limped away from Earth. In the council chamber, Admiral Rogers turned to President Robert. "They'll be back," he said quietly. "Yes," Robert replied, "but next time they'll know what they're facing. The Empire has never failed to conquer a world before. This changes everything." Across the solar system, humanity's hidden defenses remained vigilant. The first battle was won, but the war had only begun. The Empire had made its first major miscalculation in centuries. They were about to make many more. 3 weeks after the first battle, Earth's quantum sensors detected a massive Imperial armada assembling at the edge of the solar system. Over 300 capital ships gathered, supported by thousands of smaller vessels. From his command post in the asteroid belt, Commander Thomas studied the holographic display of the gathering fleet. "They'd brought enough firepower to destroy a dozen worlds," he noted. "Good thing we're not a dozen worlds," Admiral Rogers replied. "We're humanity. Initiate Operation Avalanche." Deep within Ceres, the largest object in the asteroid belt, fusion engines that had laid dormant for decades roared to life. The entire dwarf planet began to move, its course carefully calculated by Earth's AI network. The Imperial fleet's commander, Grand Admiral Rex, watched with mild curiosity as his sensors detected movement in the asteroid belt. "They're trying to use asteroids as weapons," he scoffed. "Primitive tactics." But Ceres was only the beginning. Across the asteroid belt, hundreds of large objects began shifting their orbits. Each one had been hollowed out years ago, filled with engines and guided by quantum-linked computers. "Sir," an Imperial officer reported, "we're detecting unusual energy signatures from Mars." The red planet's surface seemed to ripple as massive bay doors opened across its desert plains. Hidden shipyards, built deep underground over decades, revealed themselves. Thousands of ships emerged, each one smaller than Imperial vessels, but far more maneuverable. "Impossible," Rex whispered. "Their industrial capacity couldn't have hidden this." But humanity had hidden far more. From Jupiter's moon Europa, massive ice sheets cracked open, revealing submarine factories that had been producing weapons and ships for years. The frozen surface had concealed their heat signatures from Imperial scans. "All units, execute Defense Pattern Delta," General Lisa commanded from Mars. The human fleet split into smaller groups, each one moving to protect the accelerating asteroids. The Imperial fleet launched their first attack, energy beams powerful enough to crack planets lancing out across space. They met Earth's quantum shields, which didn't just block the attacks, they redirected the energy back at the Imperial ships. "Now," ordered Commander Thomas. The asteroids revealed their true purpose. Each one split open, releasing clouds of autonomous combat drones. Millions of machines, each one guided by AI, swarmed toward the Imperial fleet. "Their numbers are impossible," Rex shouted as his screen showed the approaching swarm. "Where did they hide all this?" "Everywhere." President Robert's voice came through on all frequencies. "We hid our strength everywhere while you watched our surface struggles. This solar system isn't just our home, it's our fortress." The battle erupted across the entire system. Imperial ships found themselves fighting enemies they couldn't effectively target. Human vessels phased in and out of normal space, their quantum drives making them impossible to predict. From Saturn's rings, hidden missile platforms emerged, launching salvos of antimatter torpedoes. The rings themselves had been weaponized. Sections of ice and rock accelerated to devastating speeds by mass drivers built inside the planet's moons. "Sir," an Imperial officer reported to Rex, "we're losing contact with our advance units. Some kind of quantum field is disrupting our communications." The disruption was coming from Titan, where massive quantum transmitters created zones of communications blackout. Imperial ships, unable to coordinate their actions, found themselves isolated and vulnerable. Sears, now moving at significant speed, began to break apart as planned. Each fragment had been precisely engineered, containing more drones, weapons, and surprises. The Imperial fleet found itself in the middle of an artificial meteor storm, each piece a guided weapon. They've turned their entire solar system into a weapon, Rex realized too late. His mighty fleet was being torn apart not by a single powerful weapon, but by countless small attacks coming from every direction. Earth's forces pressed their advantage. The smaller, more agile human ships darted between Imperial vessels, their quantum-tipped weapons piercing supposedly impenetrable shields. The drone swarms infiltrated through hull breaches, disabling ships from within. The Empire thought they could simply overwhelm us with numbers, Admiral Rogers observed from the safety of Lunar Base. They never understood that we've spent a century turning every rock, every moon, every piece of our system into part of our defense. The battle wasn't over, but its outcome was becoming clear. Humanity hadn't just prepared to defend Earth, they had weaponized their entire solar system. The Empire's greatest fleet was learning a harsh lesson. Sometimes the deadliest weapon is preparation. As the remains of the Imperial Armada retreated from the solar system, Earth's United Defense Council gathered for their most ambitious plan yet. The time had come to take the fight to the Empire. "Stealth Fleet Alpha reports ready," Commander Thomas announced. Hidden in Neptune's atmosphere, Earth's most advanced ships waited. These vessels, designed for deep space operations, incorporated every technological advancement humanity had developed. President Roberts stood before the holographic map of known space. "For a century, we watched. We learned. Now we show the Empire they aren't the only ones who can project power across the galaxy." The stealth fleet emerged from Neptune's clouds, their quantum drives engaging. Unlike Imperial ships that tore through space with visible hyperspace windows, Earth's vessels slipped between reality's fabric, leaving no trace of their passage. Deep in Mars Command, General Lisa monitored the operation. "First wave of AI infiltrators has breached Imperial networks," she reported. "They think it's a normal system fluctuation." Earth's digital weapons had already begun their work. The AIs, designed to mimic Imperial code, spread through the Empire's communication networks. They didn't destroy, they watched, learned, and waited. The stealth fleet's first target was an Imperial supply world, far from the Empire's core systems. The planet's defenders never detected the approaching ships until Earth's forces appeared in low orbit. "Attention Imperial Command," broadcast Captain Wilson from the lid ship. "Your defenses are compromised. Your communications are cut off. Surrender or face the consequences." To demonstrate their power, the Earth fleet activated their gravity weapons. Imperial ships found themselves pulled from orbit, their engines useless against forces they couldn't counter. Ground installations lost power as quantum fields disrupted their energy grids. The Imperial governor's face showed pure shock as his world's defenses crumbled. "How? Who are you people?" "We're from Earth," Wilson replied simply. "The planet you tried to conquer. Now we're showing you why that was a mistake." As the supply world fell, other Earth fleets emerged from quantum space near different Imperial systems. Each strike was precise, targeting military installations and communication hubs while avoiding civilian areas. In the Imperial Palace on the Throne World, reports of simultaneous attacks caused panic. "How are they striking everywhere at once?" demanded the Imperial Council. "Their technology shouldn't be capable of this." But humanity's greatest weapon wasn't their ships or their guns. It was information. The AIs had mapped the Empire's entire defense network, finding weaknesses that even the Empire didn't know existed. Multiple Imperial worlds are requesting direct communication, reported Dr. Mark from Lunar Base. They're asking for terms, not of surrender, but of alliance. This was the true purpose of Earth's counteroffensive, not to destroy the Empire, but to show other worlds that resistance was possible, that the Empire wasn't invincible. On a dozen worlds, underground resistance movements received encrypted packages containing Earth's defensive technologies. The quantum communication network expanded, linking those who dared to stand against Imperial rule. Imperial response fleets are mobilizing, General Lisa noted, watching the tactical displays. But they don't know which reports are real and which are our AI decoys. The Empire had grown too dependent on their technological superiority. Now that same technology was being used against them, their own networks turning into weapons in Earth's hands. President Robert addressed the Council. Phase 1 is complete. The Empire now faces what they fear most, the unknown. They can't predict where we'll strike next because they still don't understand how we fight. Earth's fleets continued their hit-and-run attacks, never staying in one place long enough to be trapped. Each strike demonstrated new capabilities, keeping the Empire off balance and unsure of humanity's true strength. We've received messages from 17 more worlds, Commander Thomas reported. They want to know how we managed to defy the Empire. They want to learn. This was humanity's real victory, not just defending their own world, but showing others that the Empire could be resisted. That technology alone didn't determine the outcome of battles. As Earth's forces prepared for their next series of strikes, the Empire faced a terrible realization. They hadn't just failed to conquer one world. They had awakened a force that threatened their entire structure of power. The galaxy was changing, and humanity was leading the charge. The Imperial Palace's Grand Council chamber erupted in chaos. Reports from across the galaxy showed an empire beginning to fracture. Planetary governors declared independence, protected by Earth's quantum shields. Imperial fleets found themselves unable to respond, their movements predicted and countered by an enemy that seemed to know their every move. "The Empire has stood for 10,000 years," shouted High Counselor Marcus, his silver skin flushed dark with rage. "We cannot be defeated by primitives from a single world." But the evidence was undeniable. On the massive holographic display, red lights showed systems in open rebellion, yellow-marked worlds that had secretly contacted Earth for protection. Green indicated Imperial loyalists, and their numbers were shrinking daily. "Another fleet lost in the Centauri sector," reported an Imperial officer. "Earth's forces appeared from quantum space, disabled our ships, and vanished before reinforcements arrived." The Empire's military doctrine, unchanged for millennia, had no answer for humanity's guerrilla tactics. Each defeat inspired more worlds to resist. Each successful rebellion provided Earth with new allies and resources. In Earth's orbital command center, Commander Thomas watched the Empire's internal communications with satisfaction. The AI network had penetrated their most secure channels, giving humanity a perfect view of their enemy's growing panic. "Imperial Council is splitting into factions," he reported to President Robert. "The War Party wants to commit everything to crushing us. The Peace faction argues for negotiation." "And the neutral worlds?" Robert asked. "Watching and waiting. But most are quietly preparing defenses based on our designs." The Empire's greatest weakness had been exposed, their reliance on absolute control. As that control crumbled, the entire structure began to fail. Worlds that had been loyal for centuries now questioned their allegiance. On the Imperial throne world, the Emperor himself called an emergency session of the full council. The ancient chamber, designed to showcase Imperial power, now felt more like a bunker. "How did we fail to see their true capability?" demanded one counselor. "Because we saw what we expected to see," replied another. "We watched their surface conflicts, their apparent limitations. We never imagined it was all carefully crafted deception." Earth's strategy had been generations in the making. While appearing divided and primitive, humanity had united in secret. While seeming to struggle with basic spaceflight, they had built a military force that could challenge the Empire. In Mars Command, General Lisa received new reports from their deep space sensors. Imperial forces are pulling back to defensive positions. They're abandoning their outer territories. They're trying to consolidate their power, Admiral Rogers observed. But that just makes it easier for more worlds to break away. The Empire's attempt to appear strong was having the opposite effect. Each withdrawn fleet, each abandoned system, encouraged more rebellion. The facade of invincibility had cracked, and the cracks were spreading. New transmission from the Imperial Palace, reported Dr. Mark. The Emperor is requesting direct communication with Earth's leadership. President Robert shared a look with his advisors. This was the moment they had worked toward, not just defending Earth, but fundamentally changing the galaxy's power structure. The Emperor's hologram appeared in the council chamber, his ancient face showing strain. "Your actions threaten the stability of 1,000 systems," he declared. "No," Robert replied calmly. "Your Empire's actions threatened that stability long ago. We're offering alternatives to your rule. Chaos. You offer chaos. We offer choice," Robert corrected. "Something your Empire forgot existed." Reports continued to flood in. 3 more sector fleets had mutinied, their crews tired of fighting an enemy they couldn't defeat. Dozens of governors had secretly reached out to Earth, seeking protection before declaring independence. The empire that had seemed unshakable months ago was now fighting for survival. Their military doctrine was in shambles, their political structure cracking, their authority questioned for the first time in millennia. "The war faction is losing influence," Commander Thomas noted, monitoring Imperial communications. "They've lost too many ships, too many battles. The peace faction grows stronger daily." Humanity hadn't just resisted the Empire. They had changed the very nature of galactic politics. The myth of imperial invincibility had been shattered, replaced by the reality that even the mightiest power could be challenged. The Empire faced its greatest crisis, not from external conquest, but from the example Earth had set. The age of absolute imperial rule was ending. A new era was beginning, and humanity was writing its first chapters. 1 year after Earth's first defiance of the Empire, representatives from hundreds of worlds gathered in humanity's solar system. The massive conference center, built in Earth's orbit, hosted the first Galactic Independence Congress. President Roberts stood at the central podium, addressing delegates from both former imperial worlds and those that had remained independent. The Empire's own representatives sat in the back, their once proud postures now subdued. "We gather here not to create a new empire," Robert declared, "but to ensure no empire can ever again threaten free worlds." The changes across the galaxy had been profound. The Empire, once spanning 10,000 systems, now controlled barely 1,000. Their remaining territories were bound by new treaties, their military forces limited by international agreement. Commander Thomas, watching from the security center, monitored the quantum defense grid that protected the conference. "Strange," he mused to Admiral Rogers. "A year ago, they tried to conquer us. Now they seek our protection." Earth had become something unprecedented, a world that had not only resisted imperial power, but had helped others do the same. The technology they had developed in secret now formed the backbone of a new defensive alliance. "The Galactic Defense Network is fully operational," General Lisa reported from Mars. The system of quantum-linked satellites and AI controllers now spanned hundreds of light years, protecting member worlds from aggression. The Imperial representative rose to speak, his silver skin dulled with age and stress. "The Empire acknowledges its errors," he announced. "We accept the new boundaries and restrictions in the interest of galactic peace." It wasn't just military defeat that had changed the Empire. It was the realization that their entire philosophy had been flawed. Strength through dominance had given way to strength through cooperation. "Trade routes are stabilizing," Dr. Mark reported from the Economic Council. "Free worlds are developing their own industries, no longer dependent on imperial technology." This was perhaps humanity's greatest victory. They hadn't just shared weapons and defenses. They had shown other worlds how to become truly independent. Earth's example of hidden development and careful preparation had created a new model for planetary sovereignty. The AI network reports all sectors stable, reported a technician from Lunar Base. The vast web of quantum computers that had helped defeat the Empire now helped maintain peace, monitoring for signs of aggression or military buildup. President Robert continued his address. Each world here represents a choice. The choice to determine its own destiny. Earth doesn't seek to rule or control. We seek only to ensure that choice remains protected. In the asteroid belt, the shipyards that had built Earth's secret fleet now produced vessels for other worlds. Each ship incorporated both human and alien technology, symbols of the new cooperation between species. 17 more worlds have applied to join the defense network, Commander Thomas noted. The alliance grew stronger each day as former Imperial subjects chose independence over submission. The Empire's remaining worlds were changing too. Their rigid hierarchy gave way to more democratic systems. Their technological monopoly ended as Earth shared advancements with all peaceful worlds. The galaxy enters a new age, Robert concluded, not one of empires and subjects, but of allies and equals. The conference marked the formal end of Imperial expansion and the beginning of a new galactic order. Earth, once targeted for conquest, had become the guardian of independence. From Europa's deep-sea bases to Mars' underground cities, humanity's hidden strength now served a greater purpose. The preparations made to defend one world now protected hundreds. To think, Admiral Rogers said quietly, they thought we were primitive because we showed them what they expected to see. The lesson wasn't lost on other worlds. The Empire had fallen not to superior force, but to superior strategy, to a species that understood the power of patience and preparation. As the conference concluded, ships from 100 worlds departed Earth's orbit. They carried with them not just treaties and technology, but a new understanding. True strength lay not in domination, but in the will to resist it. The empire that had sought to add Earth to its collection of conquered worlds had instead been transformed by the encounter. The galaxy would never be the same. And humanity, the species that had said no to an empire, now said yes to a future of freedom and cooperation. The story of Earth's defiance became legend, taught on worlds across the galaxy, proof that even the greatest power could be overcome by those willing to stand against it. A new chapter in galactic history had begun.